Hello and welcome to Too Fast, Too Forever. There's all kinds of family, and we chose this one. This is episode 145, Finding Nemo from 2003. I'm Joey Lewandowski.
I'm Joe too, and this episode's brought to you by the Finding Nemo memory game by Hasbro. The Finding Nemo memory game is a fun twist on the age-old game of concentration, where you try to match up characters from the hit movie Finding Nemo by flipping over 2 cards at a time on the game board. Shout out to the Finding Nemo memory game and Hasbro.
Well, shout out to Finding Nemo and Hasbro and Haley Gerbies for picking this as our patron pick for this lap. So thank you, Haley, for having us talk this. We will talk about Finding Nemo after the break, Joe. But first, extracurricular activities. What have you been up to since we last spoke?
I came home from visiting my parents. It was cool. I got to hang out with them. That was awesome. I wanted to sneak a trip in before the weather got bad. Yep. I was guessing, which will probably be true even by the time this comes out, that like everything's going to go back to lockdown really soon.
Yeah, as of this recording, which is on Wednesday night, New York City schools are all closed, I think, starting tomorrow, which would have been yesterday if you're listening to this day comes out.
Yeah.
Los Angeles, as of tonight, when this comes out on Friday night, has a 10 p.m. curfew. Yeah, we're going back to March standards very soon.
I foresaw that coming. The numbers were going up. Nobody really seemed to be paying attention. So I got a good visit in with them. I came back. I just got a COVID test. I don't have any symptoms or anything. I just got one for fun, just to make sure that I'm all clear, so that when Thanksgiving rolls around, I can see people and know that I'm safe, because like we're hermits otherwise going to visit them. So, But that was about it. We were listening to some book on tape as we were driving.
I'll Be Gone in the Dark?
Yeah, we were listening to more of I'll Be Gone in the Dark. I did some cool stuff when I was there. I wanted to find like old sports memorabilia stuff.
Yep.
T-shirts, but also like other cool stuff. So like when I was there, I was like, Dad, can we go to like a Goodwill or something and check out some stuff? Because like I wanted to get like old like Steelers T-shirts, right? Because I think the older ones are really cool, like those mid-90s ones. And you and I were just talking about the retro jerseys that came out for the NHL. Yep. And the other thing is because I live in Connecticut, obviously none of these things are at our thrift stores, right? There's like Giants stuff, maybe some Jets stuff, and maybe some Patriots stuff, Yankees stuff, but like never like Pittsburgh stuff because it's donations from where you are, right? I went to there and I got this really cool, I got like a whole bunch of t-shirts and hoodies, and I got some cool pictures that I sent you pictures of that are like just like tacky pictures you would kind of win at a fair type situation, and some like glasses with Steelers logos and stuff like that, and all of it was really cheap because it's at a thrift store, so it's like a couple bucks each. And then when we were driving home, we stopped at something that I thought was really, really cool. Do you know what Clark bars are?
Candy bar?
Yeah, like the candy bar.
Okay, I've heard of it, but I don't know what it is.
The factory used to be in Pittsburgh. It's essentially like a Butterfinger, but I think better. They made them in Pittsburgh forever. They now like make Clark bars cups, like peanut butter cups with Clark bar pieces in them, in Altoona, PA. And that company is famous for making Mallow cups. Do you know what Mallow cups are? The yellow ones?
Yes, yeah. Also, by the way, real quick shout out to patron Christian Larson. Went to Penn State Altoona for at least a year or two. So shout out to Altoona, a place I would not know otherwise.
I didn't know that. That's cool. Good for him. So they make Mallow cups and Clark bars, and we stopped by because they have like a factory outlet store as we were driving back, and I bought like 2 huge boxes of candy bars from them. I was eating those recently, and they're really cool. They have these things that I've never seen in a store before, which is weird. They're called Jimmy Sticks. Okay, sounds kind of weird.
Is it a sprinkles thing?
No, I thought it was gonna be that makes sense. You're on the right track. I mean, like, you have a good guess, but it's just a pretzel rod covered with peanut butter, covered with chocolate.
Okay.
But it's like in like a candy bar wrapper, and they're awesome. They're so fucking good. I can't get enough of these things. So I'm sad that I didn't buy more boxes of those because I can eat a pack of them a night.
Well, then maybe it's better that you didn't then.
I thought that too. You're right. I'm sure you, Rachel, and my diabetes are all thankful that I didn't buy more boxes of those. That's what we've been doing. We watched some sports, but like other than that, that was like my fun time home stories that I was up to.
Cool. I finally the saga is over. I have my Xbox. My new Xbox came today, which is
Just
very
got it
exciting.
this morning.
I don't remember at what point, if it was after we recorded or not, but I got an email from Amazon because they had said originally that you're going to get one sometime this year, but it's not clear when. Blah blah blah. And we definitely talked about that because it was like the pre-order and
Yes.
whatever. Then they sent me an email saying, okay, it's going to be the end of the month or the beginning of December, which I was like, fine, that's fine, 2 weeks away. And then like a day or two later, it's like, hey, it's going to be here Wednesday. So I was like, oh. So it
Very
got here
cool.
today, which was very good. So I just transferred. I haven't played it yet. It's on right now. I'm just, streaming something on mute. I transferred everything over today. I was saying to you a little bit, like it's weird that there's nothing really exciting out for the Xbox right now. Like if you have
Yeah.
them, like first of all, it's hard to find
Both of them.
either. Yeah, but like if you can
Yeah.
find, if you have the choice, like right now the better system to buy I think is the PS5 because there are some exclusives. But like I have this now. Halo's coming out supposedly sometime in December. It was supposed to be out now. It got delayed, so hopefully it's out in December. But yeah, I'm just glad that I have it because now I can stop refreshing Walmart.com and I can stop, worrying about things and I have it and it's good. So
My friend said that like the only review of my friends that already have one that got one like the day it came out was that it's very heavy.
it is very heavy. I'm gonna send you a picture right now of the side by side.
Please.
It's just gigantic. I don't know how to. I don't know how to like. I don't know if you're gonna have like scale. What's funny about it is that people
Yeah.
have taken the pictures of it like against other consoles, and apparently, if you stand it upright, which I do not have it, I have it laying down just because it fits better.
Yeah.
It is exactly the like you can fit a GameCube exactly on top of it. Like it's exactly the same like width and depth,
Really?
which is strange. Yeah,
It doesn't seem like it's anywhere close to the same size.
it's weird. Hold on, I'll send you that link too.
Because it looks like it's much wider. Was it?
So if you click that, it's just like the GameCube looks like a hat on top of it, which is pretty funny.
Oh, okay. That makes way more sense. I thought you were saying that they're like essentially the same size, but no, they're not. That's really cool. Let me forward this to Rachel. She'll like this.
Oh, by the way, speaking of Rachel, I hope you're not jealous, but I was texting with your wife today because I
I
finally
heard.
opened my Dom's Charger Lego Technic. The how-to guide is literally 230 something pages. Like it's crazy.
Yes, it is. I told you. Yeah, it's really long.
And it's like challenging in a way because I haven't done this before, but it's also fun. Like it's rewarding and everything. I'm enjoying it.
Yeah.
What's also cool is that there's a QR code on the book on the cover, and if you scan that with your phone or your iPad or whatever, you can download the app that is essentially the virtual version of the book, which is very nice because I just have my iPad sitting there. I don't have to flip through the book. I have the iPad. I can tap the screen, and so I'm
Yeah.
going through and I finish like 12 or 15 pages, and then at one point there's a little icon that looks like a sticker. Then I
Yep.
text a picture to Rachel. I'm like, Rachel, what does this mean? And I don't know. And she's like, oh, that's you put sticker number 8 on that piece in that place. I was like, cool. Where are the stickers? And she's like, they should just be in the box.
In the box.
And I was
Yeah.
like, well, they're not. I'm like, could they be in the like? I thumbed through the manual a couple times. I was like, could they? She's like, it might be like a bookmark in there, but like, it's normally just loose in the box. I was like, cool. Then I don't have it. So I call Lego. This guy answers. He's like, oh, sorry about that. We'll send you a new one. He's like, it's coming from Denmark,
super
so it
cool.
might be there in. It's gonna be there in like 2 weeks. But it's free, so like I don't have to pay for anything. Like you can go online and there's like some like brick builder or something like some brick box, like some after
Yes.
like they just buy and sell like Lego pieces. You can buy stickers or books or whatever. This is free. I just have to wait a couple weeks. So I was a little bummed because I was excited that I was finally able to like
Start it.
start it and like it was coming together pretty nicely and. Unfortunately, I have to put it on hold. But I have at least I have an Xbox and a PlayStation, whatever, right? But
Yeah.
I sent a picture to Rachel. I'll send it to you too. I'm like, it's basically a car.
Oh, she showed me. I
It's
saw
really
it.
cool. Like the Technic thing is really cool. It's just
I think that like in a solid like 6 hour sitting, 8 hour sitting, I think Rachel could have finished it pretty easily. She likes to like savor it and kind of spread it out, so she did it over multiple days. But the Technics one was very, very complicated.
well, like what's super cool about this is like this is I guess like part of the chassis. I'm not exactly sure where this is, but like there's a thing that's coming out underneath and the things on the side, and because of the way the gears work, like you spin one and all of them spin, so it's like all interconnected. Like, it's super cool. So I mean, this is expensive.
Yeah.
Like $100 for a Lego set is not nothing, but I think it's kind of worth it. Like if you have the money to spend on a thing like this. Like it's worth it because it actually like does a thing. Like it doesn't just sit there. It's like a cool.
No, but yes, it's very technical and it does have lots of moving parts. And if you like run it, like when you move the wheels, like shit moves. So
Yeah.
it's very, very cool.
So I will report back. I was just listening to a podcast today, like while I had nothing to do. I was listening to a podcast and doing this, and I was enjoying it. So I hope that
It's very calming, isn't it? Like I find it very meditative. Like that's what was one of the things that I loved about Legos that I didn't really know as a kid, but like you can get like very, very intensely focused on it, and just channeling that focus and energy to this like building is nice for your brain. And also it has very, very quick reward
Yeah.
factors for your brain because you're seeing it come together, right? So like you don't have to like you talk about like playing Spelunky, right? Like where you see like the things, but you're ultimately like just building skills to get to the end.
Yep.
Where this is like it's coming together in front of your face. So you're like, oh shit, like yeah, there's a wheel and now it's on. So
like it's the same thing that I loved about, I still love about doing puzzles. It's like you can just you
exactly.
see it. It's the zen. You can go as fast as slow or slow as you want. Chill out, and this is a little bit more active, I would say, than the puzzle, because the puzzle you can just sort of like whatever. This is like, okay, I need to figure out what this diagram is showing me, what pieces I actually need, how it works, because like it all goes together easily, but like there's ones that are like you have to put it in a certain way because like there's like the cross or there's a circle and whatever, and so yeah, it's cool though. I enjoy it.
And also the diagrams are cool because they like give you a diagram that's helpful but a little bit challenging, right? Like they'll always give you like a weird angle that like you'll see like it needs to go in there, but you're like, how the fuck does that get in there? And then like you'd like flip everything around for a minute, and you're like, oh okay, here, this is where it goes. I'm sorry that you have to wait and get your stickers, but
like you don't know how many times I thumbed through this book and like looked on the floor and looked in the box, and I'm like, maybe it's in the box now. Like maybe I missed it in the box before.
Did you just open the box today too?
Yeah, because I had it sitting there, but like it was just one of those things where I was like, I'm not. I didn't have like I didn't feel like a rush to do it or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
But, yeah, I was like today. I was like, yeah, today's the day, and then today's not the day.
Get to the stickers and you're boned. That's so weird. I was convinced that you had like opened the box, saw the stickers, and was like, oh, I won't need these or something, and or like dropped it out of the box.
The first sticker is like it's a sticker that says like made and produced and whatever. And I was just like, this is whatever. But like if you look at the full thing, it's like the Charger logo and like the Charger decal and like his license plate. And I'm like, oh no, like, this is actually important. Because for a while I was like, I can just not do this, like it's fine. And then I was like, oh no, I need the stickers.
Yep.
That's that. I also wanted to give an update about something we talk about in the back half of this episode. So we talked about how we will talk about, you'll hear, how Finding Nemo won the Best Animated Picture Oscar. It was the first time Disney had ever won, and we're like, that seems impossible. Well, I found out that the Best Picture Oscar, it was something I had sort of assumed, didn't begin until 2001. And so in 2001, Monsters, Inc. was nominated and lost to Shrek. And then in 2002, and Monsters, Inc. I don't think was Disney back then. That was Pixar. I think that was before. Like we were also talking about, it was whatever.
Yep.
And then 2002, Lilo and Stitch was nominated and it lost to Spirited Away, the Miyazaki movie, which is one of the best animated movies of all time. And so it was one of those where it's like it has to be that, because if it's not that, something went terribly wrong, right? But
yeah. It makes so much more sense now.
Is there anything else that I've done lately? Let me just see if there's... I started playing The Last of Us again on PS4, which is great. I'm amazed. I guess maybe I shouldn't be amazed.
Are you playing on PS5?
I'm playing, the PS4 game on PS5, yes.
Okay.
It's basically the same thing, I think. The controller is nicer, but it's basically the same experience. It's amazing to me how many stories are about pandemics that I never really thought about until we were in one, but like that is about it, which I sort of talked about before when I talked about the game. I watched last night the Muse concert film. The band Muse had the concert film Simulation Theory, which is about a pandemic and about the government lying to us about the pandemic because they're all conspiracy theory, whatever. And then there was something else where I was like, oh, I'm watching the show Medical Police on Netflix now, which is the Children's Hospital spinoff. Like that's also about a pandemic too. I'm like, what the fuck? Like how? I guess like
I can't escape this. Yeah.
I'm not like upset about it because like I'm sure that if some people like I don't mind that, but just like I can't believe how often it comes up in like everyday things, right? So it's just crazy.
Yeah. It's funny because when the pandemic started, you and I were talking like, oh man, there's going to be like so much pandemic media coming out because like that's what people are going to think about. And it's like, oh no, there was a fuck ton of pandemic media, but it just didn't mean anything to us until now.
Yeah. But now we can't get away. It's part of our fabric of our DNA.
Literally.
We have a Patreon page here on the show, toofast2forever.com. Shout out to, we'll put her first, Haley Gerby's here for sponsoring this episode. Cassie Wilson, Jake Freer, Ben Milliman, Nick Burris, Alex Ellenen, Justin Kleiman, Brian Rodriguez of High School Slumber Party, Wes Hampton, Christian Larson, Jerry Robinson, Dan the Duke Hayden, Renato DiDonato, and Jessica Collins, a.k.a. Montez, for supporting us at the $5 level or above. Thank you all so very much.
Yes, thank you guys. Thank you.
If you want to pick movies for us to watch, if you want early access to things, if you want access to the quiz, which we're going to actually probably make public fairly soon because we are now...
near the end.
This is the minute that we talk about today is the end of the movie, so it'll be the final quiz question, plural, maybe, that we're going to do. toofast2forever.com for that, but keep us over there. We also have an email address. family@cageclub.me and Joe. We've got 4 emails today.
Okay.
First up, from Justin Kleinman, subject line, Super Horn explanation.
Superhorn continued. I was telling my dad about it because I saw his camper finally. I told Justin this, and maybe I mentioned it on here too, but like my dad recently bought a camper, and I saw his when I went to go visit, and I was explaining the Superhorn to him, and he was laughing and was like, "Oh yeah, that's really cool. Like I would love one of those." You're like, okay.
So here's the explanation. Here's what basically the button explanation. So this gives
Okay.
some more background to what we were talking about.
Please.
So
I'm curious.
the Superhorn is 24 pre-programmed songs which you use the slider toggles at the bottom to choose. All the rest of the buttons are for programming your own songs. Each one is a note of the C scale. Sadly, we can't get them all to work. Anyway, it's still pretty fun to play on it when people are around. I think it just sounds like an ice cream truck.
It does, and that's really cool. And Justin and his son are both musical. Like, oh man, I wish the rest of it would work, because then you guys could write your own like some wacky new like WAP on your Superhorn.
You could
in
turn
MIDI.
Hank's 2-piece band into a 3-piece band, and it's just you in the RV on the Superhorn.
Yeah, you drive them to their gig, and you just dun-dun-dun-dun, like on the Superhorn. That would be awesome. Yeah. I like it.
Next email from Alex Ellen in subject line Sung Kang. Any chance to plug the smoking tire? I'll do it. 1117's episode had Sung Kang as the guest. This is a podcast he's written into us about before.
Oh,
the smoking
okay,
tire is... Matt and Zach sit down with automotive icons, pro drivers, comedians, and other friends to discuss automotive industry news, racing, projects, and whatever else comes to mind. And Sung Kang is the most recent episode, 2-hour episode. So if you want 2 hours of Sung Kang, check it out, The Smoking Tire.
I would always want 2 hours of Sun Kang, to be honest with you.
Alex also writes in, separate email, Turbo. I'm glad you guys enjoyed Turbo. This is one of the ones where I'm not trying to make you watch a terrible movie. Don't worry. That's coming. I watched this one on a random Friday night. I was getting drunk at home alone and was very pleasantly surprised. I actively watched the whole thing, which almost never happens, and I really enjoyed it. Once the theme was announced, I ran to Emrod's IMDb page, and once I saw this and confirmed it was the movie I thought it was, I knew I found my pick. It's short, it's fun, and it hits just right.
It does. You're absolutely right, dude. It was such a pleasant surprise for me. So thank you.
Yeah.
It was great. And I think everybody else that listens to this should watch it just because it's a fun... I think that you guys would like it, so...
And it's available on Netflix, right? So it's...
We watched it... I think we watched it on... Yeah, because Netflix has that and the show, too.
Yes.
That's right. I watched it on Netflix. Yep.
And because I knew that they're both this week, or both, so if you want to watch Nemo, that's on Disney Plus, and this is on Netflix. So yeah, or Turbo was on Netflix. Yeah. So thank you, Alex. And our final email, Joe, from a new listener, Michael McGann. Subject line:
welcome aboard, brother.
Appreciates a fine podcast, regardless of its make.
Ooh.
Hey fam, hope all is well. My name is Michael, and I just wanted to reach out to you and thank you for making such a fantastic and enjoyable podcast. I've been on a hard binge after discovering it just over a month ago, and I can honestly say it's my favorite podcast to date.
Wow.
High compliments.
High compliments. You guys you're too nice sometimes. Seriously.
Back toward the end of September, my wife and I were watching Fast and Furious 6, and she was swooning over her dream girl, Michelle Rodriguez, and tweeted about how she was her 2000s girl crush. A few hours later, she got a reply, "Boy, do we have a podcast for you," from Too Fast, Too Forever. She apparently hit that like button, took a screenshot, and sent it to me as I'm a huge fan of these movies. So I looked, and his wife is Glitter Goth at Mutiny Kitty. She said, "Hello, Michelle Rodriguez is my 2000s girl crush. Goodbye. Boy, do we have a podcast for you." As far as I can tell...
That seems like a Rachel.
I think it was a Rachel.
Holy shit, we've never hit that one before.
We've never gotten an email.
Congrats to Rachel. Yeah, you got an email out of a tweet you sent.
Because this was on a Saturday night, or Saturday afternoon. So yeah, this was not a Wednesday evening. So this was a Saturday. I just said, "Boy, do we have a podcast for you." Bit.ly, Too Fast, Too Forever. Yeah.
Perfect, yeah. Shout out Rachel, cool. So he obviously knows the game now, too. That's pretty fun.
Yeah, and he writes about that. I've been listening ever since, starting with episode 1, and I've powered through, as of this email, the end of Lap 3, Tokyo Drift Part 1. I've downloaded the second and third episodes from Brian's and Mike's podcast. Oh, cool. And I can't wait to get a high school perspective on the movie. Love the game. This ain't no 10-second race, and I'm so glad you guys are still keeping it going, or else I would not have been able to find this and join this family. See, it works.
Wow.
It took hundreds and hundreds of attempts, but we finally got it to work.
It won. How many episodes? Like 150 episodes deep, and this was one not even for the game.
Nope.
Like, this is just, oh man, wow.
Just
but
Rachel
it worked.
Rachel. Yeah.
I'm glad that it finally worked, because we do think, honestly, the tweets that we find, this is probably a podcast for you,
Yeah.
right? Like,
Yeah. I'm looking forward to listening to you guys lap after lap until I'm all caught up and listening, quote, in real time when episodes are released instead of, quote, living in the past. Anyways, I gotta run. The crust has been all cut off my tuna sandwich, and I gotta chow down.
Oof.
Stay furious, my friends. Michael. Well, shout out, Michael. Thank you, Michael. And shout
Welcome
out to
aboard.
Glittergoth, his wife, for
yes.
getting him here, I guess, right?
Yeah, that's awesome. It's going to be months later, but here's your email, bud.
Yeah.
Thanks.
From one wife to another, from Rachel to your wife.
Yeah.
Right?
And that was a cool connection, too. Like, she just handed it off to him, and look, we have a new bro already.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Very, very cool. And that's all the emails for today. If you want to email in family@cageclub.me, send us an email and let us know what's going on. And we look forward to hearing from you soon. All right, Joe, on the streets, Fast and Furious news, anything that you have seen since we last spoke?
No, nothing like new and pressing, because we did all the Bloodshot news, the Scorpion King news. We said that Fast 9 is done officially.
Yep. So there are two things. One is a minor update to a thing we talked about last episode.
What?
So we talked about how Wonder Woman might hit HBO Max 2 weeks after it comes out in theaters.
Yes.
Now
Yeah,
there's a
you said
rumor that it might just hit theaters on Christmas Day. The new rumor is that's going to hit theaters and HBO Max on Christmas Day and just make it, the movie event
one
of the
release.
season.
Yeah, well, that's exactly what we wanted, and what we said, like, that's the way to do it. If you want eyes,
Yep.
that's how you're going to do it.
Which is pretty cool. I hope so. I mean, obviously we want more Giselle and more Giselle content in general, and
Obviously.
more
Obviously.
Gal Gadot. But also, I want to see Wonder Woman, so it'd be pretty cool to see it on Christmas Day, or around Christmas Day at least, right? So
I'll probably make an effort to binge all the DC ones leading up to Wonder Woman then.
you don't even need to. I mean, I don't know what this new one is, but like, you don't need to really. You can, but you don't have to. Like, they're all kind of standalone-ish. There's the Justice League movie, but Zack Snyder is recutting that for HBO Max.
Well, the Snyder Cut's never coming out. Isn't that the joke?
No, it is.
I know, but isn't the joke that, like...
Yeah, but no, it finally is coming out next year. They're going to do like a 4-part mini-series of some kind on HBO Max. Instead of a movie, it's going to be like sort of like episodes of a TV show or something.
Okay, cool.
So, yeah.
That works.
The other news, this is more appropriate and more applicable to us. I did not share this with you because I want to save the conversation for here. So we had talked a while back about how Universal had made a deal with AMC that a movie could hit theaters and then hit VOD 17 days later. And so it was going to be some kind of back end of... AMC was going to get a cut of the VOD that... Universal was going to get the double dip that they could have the early thing in theaters. It could stay in theaters. Then they'd also get the VOD money, the premium VOD money pretty early, whatever. There's a new deal, so Universal just signed a deal with Cinemark that now also applies to AMC.
Why? Did Cinemark buy AMC or something?
No, but they didn't have a deal in place with Cinemark. This deal that Universal had made earlier this year was just with AMC, so this is just like to secure another movie chain or whatever. But this new deal also applies to AMC, and this is it's less good for us. So the new deal, which applies to both, is that if a movie still can hit theaters after 17 days or whatever, but if a movie makes $50 million its opening weekend, it'll have 31 days of theatrical exclusivity.
Well, that's not going to happen in the middle of a pandemic, so it doesn't really matter to us.
But 50 million's not a ton.
It's a lot more than 10 people in a movie theater at a time.
I wonder what Tenet did. Hang on, let's see here. Domestic only made $56 million in total.
Okay. Is it worldwide or domestic?
The $50 million or whatever, that is first weekend. So it would have to have a pretty big weekend. Domestic opening made $20 million.
Yeah, logistically, just people-wise, with COVID orders of maximum capacities and stuff like that, I can't see it happening. Just size of theaters-wise, you know what I mean? Because how many people can you really fit in a theater to hit 50 million? And how many people are going to go? That's 50 million of people that are willing to go anyways. So
I think by the end of May, with 2 vaccines now out, both at 95% efficiency, if that's widely distributed by then, it might be a different story. Hopefully it's a different story.
Yes.
But
summer, hopefully, yes.
Because that's still 6 months away from now, right? So there's still a while, but...
April, May, when it starts to get warm again, this is finally going to be done. Vaccine, warmth, a shutdown of winter, it's going to be okay. That's what I'm praying.
Hopefully. We'll find out. So that's all the news that I have. It's not quite Fast and Furious. I mean, that latter one is kind of Fast and Furious, but it impacts our ability to see the movie infinite times as soon as it comes out, right? We'll have to go see it in theaters and whatever, but... we'll figure that out. We'll cross that bridge when it comes to it in May.
What if like the only reason that you and I get a vaccine is so we can go to see Fast and Furious in
Well,
theaters?
that's the thing. Like, I mean, I want a vaccine either way, but like, I don't see
Yeah.
myself going to a theater unless I like quote unquote have to, which would be for this, right? So,
We never would really have to go, but like I think by May when stuff calms down and the vaccine's out, it'll be like, okay, yeah, we can go have a family watch party like we normally do. I'm sure all of our friends will be.
I mean, what would be really cool, the best of both worlds, is if they still have the private theater rental by then.
Oh, shit. You're so right.
Say it's like $500, right? It's like, okay, we'll just take, half a year of Patreon and just, that's the movie.
No. Beyond that, like we could just like all of our friends would be like, "Okay, here's $15 a ticket."
It's true.
And there's 20 of us.
Yep.
There it is.
Yeah.
Cool.
There's a lot of options. There's a lot of things in play here. We'll see how that goes, but we got nothing but time between now and May 29th, I think, right? Whenever Memorial Day is.
Yeah.
So hopefully,
Exactly.
hopefully things are better by then. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see.
Amen.
All right, Joe. The final thing to do before we take a break and talk about that little fish
Final.
under the sea is the Fast and Furious minute 107, a minute I called the end. I could also call it our journey ends because I said our journey begins, but our journey doesn't really end here. Our journey just kind of is the end of the first movie. Like we still got more. So
End scene.
end scene.
I live my life a quarter mile at a time. Nothing else matters. For those 10 seconds or less, I'm free.
In this minute, the sun rises on Baja, Mexico. Dom,
Ooh.
in a red muscle car, speeds through town, then out into the desert. Simple. That's it.
That's it.
In my head, I was thinking there was more to this scene, but just
No.
Dom driving. And, he's in Baja, Mexico. We see that from the lower third. He's in a dark blue shirt or a black shirt. He's got one line of dialogue that you just heard. He's driving a Chevelle, which I almost got right, which I was very impressed
You
that
were
I almost got
close. You were
myself
very,
right.
very close. Yeah, you said a Camaro. That's not too far off, buddy.
I knew the SS, but what did you see? I know that you were going deep into Spanish culture and lore, trying to find out where we were, but what did you learn in this minute?
Dom is driving down this street.
Yep.
And there's a bunch of like taquerias behind him, right? It's like water on one side, taquerias on the other. I was trying to find this place by the names of the signs, right? Because that's what I was writing down all the signs and trying to find the names of these places. I'm searching for Marisicos Conchitas. Okay, like that's what the name of this place is.
Well, this website that you linked is very crazy. Just like
Oh,
it looks like
yeah.
it was built in like 2002, which it might have been.
It really was. So
The site was on the web since January 19, 2005 and copyright 2008, so it's no newer than 2008. But yes, okay, go ahead.
So I find the restaurants, but I don't speak Spanish, so I'm not realizing which words I'm searching for, like Loncheria La Playa. I'm thinking that these are the names of the restaurants. They're not distinct names.
It's just like
That means,
beach
like-
restaurant.
Yeah. It's like it's food shack.
Yep.
It's literally food shack. Mariscos is seafood, right?
Okay.
So I'm searching for like seafood shack in Baja, Mexico, and Google's like, go fuck yourself. Like, there's no way you could, like, it's just like not helpful. And I'm like, why can't I find any of these places? I see the signs, like I can read them. It's not like I was like getting the letters wrong or something. I eventually figured out what I was doing, and this is a row of taquerias on the street. I got it in the Google Maps now.
In Baja.
In Baja, Mexico, and it's called Fish Taco Row, and it's like all of these taquerias that you can get fish tacos at all in one row. It looks fucking awesome. I found the two restaurants that Dom drives by, and I found, like you said, 2008 at the newest reviews of the restaurants with very awesome. You saw the pictures
Yep.
and stuff, right? Like this guy like went and like did like a deep review of these restaurants, of what he got there, how much everything cost, pictures of the inside, pictures of the outside. They're excellent. So I was like, cool. Added the signs, and that was my fun story of not being able to speak Spanish. I also did find it. I eventually found it on Google Maps once I knew that I was being an idiot.
It looks like it's been built up a little bit since he drove through. Like, it looks like they paved the road at least.
It looks like they paved the road road a little bit at least. Some of the signs are a little bit newer. They, changed a name or two, but for the most part, it's similar, right? It's like any beach drive, but without a boardwalk, right?
Yep.
I think that when we do our tour, our official first movie tour,
our global tour.
No, if we do like a first movie tour
okay.
where we go to California, I think we have to hit here. Go to
Baja Fresh.
Yeah. Go to Baja Fresh and get some fish tacos, and we could eat at both of these places and report back.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Cool. I'm down.
Can we get shrimp, and I can pay for my own shrimp?
Sure. I think that we have to get that at the place on the PCH though. So
Neptune's Net. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm saying like we should go into this and be like, can I have shrimp tacos? And they'll be like, yeah, that's $3. And be like, I can pay for my own shrimp. And they'll be like,
get the fuck out. Just
Yes. Stop.
Stupid white
gringos.
boys. Yep.
You gringos leave.
Yep. Okay, so I've got two different trivia questions here, I think, at the end. We got one that's it's a play on the last trivia question we had. So the last one we had at the end of the movie proper was, what is the final line of dialogue in the Fast and Furious before the credits, which was, I owe you a 10-second car, right?
Yes.
Here I think we should do what's the final line spoken in the Fast and Furious, which we could do still, I owe you a 10-second car, I live my life a quarter mile at a time. The right answer, for those 10 seconds or less I'm free, or I'm in love with Brian O'Connor and forever in his debt.
Can we change the forever in his debt to his eyes are really dreamy?
Okay.
Not to,
because
not
of his deep,
and then the bluest blue in parentheses.
beautiful blue. Because it's very clearly not the right answer anyway, so why not?
Yeah, exactly.
So then I think we should do, what kind of car does Dom drive through Mexico in the post-credit scene? So we have the Chevy SS, the Chevelle SS.
The Chevelle SS,
We could do the Dodge Charger.
Dodge Charger for sure.
We could do, what's the car that Brian gives him at the end of the movie?
That's Brian's Supra.
So, Toyota Supra.
Toyota Supra.
And we need one more.
The Mazda RX-7, which is his other car that he drives in the beginning of the movie. That's also red, too, so that's a little good, tricky question.
Are there any other questions you think that we should do? Because, I mean, this is going to be the end of the quiz, because we're going to talk about, on the next few episodes, the deleted scenes and the bonus content. We're going to work our way into the turbocharged prelude, but this is the last question, I think, for this specifically. So this will be the end of the quiz. But are there any other questions that you want to ask about this minute in particular?
No, I don't think, and I think you're 100% right to like take like a little bit of a turn that like we can't ask questions about the deleted scenes, right? Because it's not like part of the movie. So
are there any
we're going to talk about them.
Movie-wide questions that you think we should ask
for the quiz right now?
Yeah.
No, we did it by minute. I mean, I don't think we would have missed much. I want to take the quiz again now that it's finished. Maybe I'll think of some while I'm taking it.
At some point, we're going to do an episode. It's not on the schedule yet, but that we're going to go, I think maybe after we do the deleted scenes. We have to figure out if we're going to do the deleted scenes scene by scene or minute by minute. I feel like it has to be minute by minute, but we'll figure out. Or maybe we can do, I don't know. We'll figure out, we'll go scene by, I don't know. We'll figure that out. But after we're done with that, we can go through, I want to go through again and do that kind of like rewatch of the movie and go through the minutes and see if there's anything we missed, and then we can officially publish the quiz to the public. But
I'm 100% with you. Yep.
But as of right now, the quiz is going to be done. So if you want to check it out, toofast2forever.com. It's linked a couple times, I think. I don't know if it's in the pinned post or not, but if you need the link, just email us or Facebook us or whatever, and we'll get you a link. But it is now officially complete. We have 113 questions for the 107 minutes in the movie. So pretty cool, pretty solid, pretty in-depth.
Yeah, that's nuts.
It's very difficult.
I'm very excited to see the quiz, like see what I get on it now.
Yeah, I feel like we should take the quiz together whenever we do that episode, but I don't know.
Oh, you mean like side by side and we can do it, or just do it right before we do it?
We gotta figure it out. Like I just don't think that like you should just do it tonight, just like when we're done with the podcast.
To be honest, I don't have the link to it anyway, so like I'm sure I have it somewhere, but like I don't have it, so I'm at your mercy to get it anyways. Yeah, I think before the recap relap, we could like both do it that day or something.
All right, any other thoughts about this minute or anything, or should we take a break and talk about Finding Nemo?
I did like the end minute. The final credit scene is cool though. I always forget that it exists. Well, not now, but when I first watched the movie, I think I missed it a bunch of times.
Yeah.
So.
All right, Joe, let's take a break and let us hear Wes's interlude theme or commercial theme.
Ooh.
And we'll come right back to talk about Finding Nemo.
Welcome back to Too This is episode number 145, Finding Nemo. This episode is brought to you by the Finding Nemo memory game by Hasbro. Shout out to the Finding Nemo memory game.
Well, shout out to Finding Nemo memory game, and welcome to the back half of Animation Week here on Too Fast, Too Forever. Shout out to Haley Gerbies for picking this one from her backyard, from Australia, from Down Under.
Oh, yeah.
This is Pixar's, I think, first movie that did not take place in America, I think. I was thinking, while watching this movie that, the episode could be, 45 seconds long. It's just the movie's great. I don't know, it's a great movie. There's nothing, it's great. I don't mean that, that there's nothing to talk about, because there is, but it's also Finding Nemo's great. It's a great movie. Thank you. Thank you for having us watch it again, right? That's, there's a version of this world where it's that's what we talk about, yeah.
There is. I haven't seen this movie since I saw it in theaters. I have lots of personal problems watching Pixar movies sometimes because I find them super depressing.
Sure, yeah.
I've never seen Up. I've never seen a lot of these, and Rachel gets upset with me. Never seen WALL-E either.
WALL-E's actually not too depressing. I mean, considering it's about mankind, the end of mankind, because we've all, killed the planet and everything. Other than that, compared to Up, where in the first 10 minutes of Up, it's, the most gut-wrenching thing in a movie ever.
Yeah.
WALL-E's not that bad. This one, like many Pixar movies, opens with the death of a parent, right? So, yeah, pretty cool. Thanks, Pixar.
As great as Finding Nemo is, I get so emotionally drawn in and drained by watching these movies that I often can't watch them. So I saw this movie in theaters in 2003. I haven't seen it since. I had the same emotional response to it this time. This is fucking heart-wrenching. I mean, granted, they tie it up in a nice bow for you at the end. Everything's okay. Nothing really bad. Well, I mean, the mom dies immediately, but it's a happy ending. They give you a happy ending. But even still, the whole movie is so down for me. As great as it is, I'm just can we please just help him find his son, please? Sooner. Just make this happen faster.
I know that this is essentially, what I'm about to say is kind of Fate of the Furious a little bit, but this feels like a how far would Dominic Toretto go to get Baby Brian back?
I had the exact same thought. Baby Brian is on the plane and stuff, Dom will do anything to get him back, and that's exactly what I was thinking watching this movie.
The story of this, hunting all over the place for your lost child, could be kind of a nice way that the franchise effectively ends, where it's how far will Dom go to protect his family? We know that family is a big deal, and that he's done this already once for his kid, but Marlin is traveling the ocean to find Nemo wherever he may be,
across his globe, yeah, facing every fear that he has to make sure that his son is safe and returned home to him. As I was watching this, I didn't have too many fast connections, especially because we're coming from Turbo, right? That there's a lot of fast connections. But I saw some things. We start out after the gut-wrenching Pixar opening. We see that Marlin's taking Nemo to school, and he's really worried about it. And he shows up to school, and the other guys see him, and they're like, oh, you're a clownfish. You must be really funny. He starts to tell this joke, but he flubs it. What would have happened in Finding Nemo if somehow this joke was about No Knees Denise? And would it not make so much sense to have it in an underwater movie with octopus and stuff that don't have knees, that Denise would have been a weird octopus? And I was trying to think of a punchline for that joke, and I couldn't get it.
My brain did not go there at all, but I'm glad that I guess you did. That's a wild thing that goes on there.
Channeling Wells. But in that sense, because Marlin is the clownfish, although the personalities aren't the same, if we were to reshoot this and Marlin was a funny clownfish, would he not have to be Roman?
I guess so. I mean, Roman, I feel like the tide is turning on Roman. My tide has turned on Roman already. I guess Roman is the clown for sure. Did you recognize, I don't know how much you looked at the voices or anything like that, but did you recognize the guy who plays Marlin?
No, I used the nice website that Kevo found for us, Behind the Voice Actors. Amazingly helpful. Again, if I can't pitch that enough. I had to look up some of them, but I didn't recognize who Marlin was. Who is Marlin?
So Marlin's Albert Brooks, who's very famous, but he is noteworthy to us, and not to this podcast yet, but eventually at some point. He plays essentially the villain in Drive. He plays the guy that is Gosling's benefactor.
I don't remember him in Drive at all.
He's the guy who, spoilers for Drive, but he's the guy who murders Bryan Cranston.
Drive is one of those movies that, I watch, and it's beautiful and I love it. I get so consumed by the cinematography that if you had to have me describe what the movie was about, I would just be like Ryan Gosling in a car with a jacket. And I've seen it and I really enjoy it and like I pay attention to it, but I just get even Only Goss Forgives too. Like I remember a couple scenes of it, but like overall I can't remember what the movie's about.
That's a bizarre movie. I think Drive is a much more straightforward movie in terms of what it's about.
But I'm saying cinematography wise because it's the same guy, right?
Directed by Nicholas Winding Refn, sure.
And I love his movies, but they just like they really consume me in a different weird way that like fucks with my sensory. I get a lot of sensory overload from them and I lose what the plot of the movie is.
So I'm sure if you use that other site, you saw the Rachel Nection in this movie.
I did. She told me about it.
So this is This is Allison Janney, Rachel's cousin, Allison Janney's first ever animated movie, which is, I guess,
I didn't know that.
Big deal. There were also multiple bits. So there's like 230 bits of trivia on IMDb about this movie, most of which does not apply to us. In this movie, all the fish that Nemo winds up at a dentist's office, in the dentist's office fish tank. It's like all these fish are experts at root canals and all things dental because they just watch these things all day, and I thought that was very, very funny. What Allison Janney is probably best known for, The West Wing, her character CJ had a root canal at some point, and so her talking about a root canal, like I haven't seen that show. Lower on IMDb, like a less interesting, like less upvoted thing, maybe saying it was like a hilarious root canal. Like I don't understand. Like maybe she was like on painkillers. I don't know, but like apparently this is a very memorable episode, and so it's kind of a coincidence. Maybe I don't know. Unclear. Just I made note of that only in particular because of
Allison Janney.
I don't know that there are a ton of fast connections. There are sort of connections to other things.
There is. Go ahead.
But what you got? What did you find here, fast connection wise? Anything of note?
Somebody is either in the tank or Nemo's hiding in the like the old man scuba suit tank, and I was just thinking Point Break. Can't be locked in a cage, man.
Oh, this is all very Point Breaky, like the whole surfer vibe of everything, and like the turtles.
Yes.
Okay, Squirt here will now give you a rundown on proper exiting technique.
Good afternoon. We're gonna have a great jump today. Okay, grab the hard cut back as you hit the wall. There's a screaming bottom turn, so watch out. Remember, rip it, roll it, and touch it.
Well, I was saying that as very Point Break, our predecessor, in terms of, because that inspired Fast and Furious, or
yes.
Modeled Fast and Furious after that. Considering this takes place in and around Sydney, very Lost as well, in that a lot of the, things going on in Sydney. Pretty appropriate to our current lap of Lost Season 2.
True. I watched a new episode of Lost the other day. I'm trying to take them kind of slow. I mean, with sports and stuff, I was doing other stuff, but I was continuing along. Watched another episode of Lost the other day, so.
Cool. My big thing was about Dom, how far he would go to get Brian back. Could we bookend the series like this, like when Brian is like a teenager, say, or like 8 years old or whatever? Because this is also kind of Taken-ish, and I was wondering if like, Dom would do that kind of thing where it's how far would you go? What would you do to get the, the person who means the most to you? Because the movie, like we talked about, begins with unspeakable tragedy where his wife dies and also 399 of their 400 soon-to-be children. It's just like, oh boy, that's brutal.
What in this film reminded me most of Fast and the Furious Race? And I think that the first one has to be the like jellyfish game, right? That he plays with Dory, like as go over, what did he call it? Like not the abyss, the trench. They go over it and all the jellyfish are there. He knows that Dory doesn't know what's going on and she won't remember, getting stung. So he's like, let's make a game to get to the end of it. And I was like, oh, this is like the closest thing we get to a real race here. We get the scene with like the turtles and the current, and I was thinking like that also kind of seems like a race, but they're all kind of just like gliding along. So I was trying to find like where a good race would be here.
Yeah, like it's kind of a race against the clock, and there's urgency, but there's never really like a direct race. Like I guess the closest thing to a race, and it's not even like a race, is that like when Darby at the end, like when she's about to show up, like there's a real race against the clock, but it's not. There's no vehicles at play, right? So it's like there's urgency, but there's not actual like transportation getting from point A to point B. Just a lot of swimming. Like it's a road movie kind of, but just underwater.
Maybe in the beginning when Nemo and his friends are, doing the like I dare you to go further.
Sure. Yep.
Maybe that is but it's not really like a race to who can get there first. It's like, who can cross this line. I really wish we got more of a shot where, we hear that all pipes lead to the ocean, right?
All roads lead home.
I know it's kind of bleak even in a movie like this, but I was hoping we would get a Fast and the Furious through the engine shot, like we even got in Turbo. Nemo going down the drain and then like going through the pipes and winding up at the sewage thing, right?
Sure.
Like we get like a little bit of that, but not. I wanted it to feel more Fast and the Furious-esque, like when you see like the Nas shot go through the engine and you follow it.
Yeah, what's the oceanic equivalent, not Oceanic Airlines, but just the ocean equivalent of Nas?
I think it has to be the current, right? That's what I was thinking.
Guess.
Because like, what else would you do? Like it's a current.
Yeah, that's also like drafting kind of too, right? Like it's
drafting in cars. Yep, yeah, exactly like NASCAR. One thing that was very Fast and the Furious-y, and we actually haven't seen yet. We had a submarine, but we did not have underwater mines. Like we've used the torpedo, which they have in this, when he like shoots the torpedo at the sharks, but we don't get those like floating underwater mines, and that would be a lot of fun in Fast and the Furious.
Sure. Having to navigate one of those.
This could be like another like, Roman moment, like, what are these? And then he like taps one with his finger, or something. Everybody's like, no, don't do it. And also reminiscent of like the TNT and Lost too.
You got some arst on you.
Yeah, exactly.
In terms of Fast Connections, in terms of like the broader picture here, it is kind of like a found family. So we have, like, I think that's also probably true of a lot of movies, but it's Nemo's tank mates, his aquarium mates.
Yes.
The fact that Willem Dafoe is in a kids movie is like baffling. Like I just love that so
agree.
much. That he is like the epitome of evil in Wild at Heart as Bobby Peru. Like there are so many movies where he just plays
Boondock
like
Saints.
unhinged antichrist. Like it's just movies where it's just like, oh my god, like you are a literal nightmare. And I can just imagine kids like being like, oh, I love that fish, mommy. Like what other movies has he been? Like you can't watch anything else he's ever done. This is not one that you can be in because, just Mount Wanahaka-Loogie or whatever. This is as close as we're getting to the rest of his filmography because, boy, oh boy, Willem Dafoe and kids generally don't mix.
I wish it kind of looked more like him, but...
I mean, he's got a scar, which is, like, sort of harrowing enough as it is, right?
Yeah, that is. But, I mean, like, can you imagine if he was just, like, Willem Dafoe terrifying, Like,
Jesus Christ, yeah, I know.
Just, like, Green Goblin, like, he just looked just like him or something.
It's not... It's a reference that I made before, but it's not a Fast Connection as much as a Memento Connection. But when Dory at the end meets up with Nemo after she gets separated from Marlin and sees the word Sydney, is trying to remember like who that is, where that is, why this all rings a bell, right? P. Sherman, 42 Wally B. Way, Sydney, whatever. There is that moment at the end of Memento where he realizes like, oh, I've been, lying to myself this entire time or whatever. So kind of similar in that regard where it's like, oh, like this short-term memory loss, this one issue that we all have together in the memory loss lap. It's more like that than I think anything else that we've done.
This does have a lot of Memento vibes, like with the Dory situation going on and like, why do I remember this? Because we're talking about memory loss and because we know Letty has memory loss, trying to make connections from Dory to Letty, but they're just such opposite characters.
Yep.
Dory is like the antithesis of a Letty character.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, because this is also the first time that a character's ever been written for Ellen. And so I can't imagine, people being less alike than Michelle Rodriguez and Ellen DeGeneres, right?
Yeah. Right.
I have a question for you. So if you'll remember, and I don't know if you're going to remember, so I'm going to refresh your memory. At the end of the first Toy Story movie, Buzz and Woody, or at least Woody, has been captured by Andy's next door neighbor Sid, that creepy kid.
Yes.
And so at the end of the movie, all the toys come back to life, surround him, and they walk at him. It's like all these like horrifying contraptions and like amalgamations that he's made have like come to life, and they're all coming after him. So would you be more freaked out by that, or by you're in an aquarium and you're scooping a fish out to give it to your niece for her birthday? All the other fish in the tank then swim in the net and swim downward with such force that like it comes out of your hand. Like that's got to be incredibly jarring.
That has to be pretty jarring, but I think animals are smart, and I never seem to be less amazed by animals and the things that they can do in groupings. Like I said, we watch a lot of Planet Earth, So I find them very fascinating. And as like, a biologist and somebody that's, studied some behavioral science, I would think that that wouldn't be as nearly as jarring as toys coming at you that are reanimated, because I'd be like, oh, these fish are just really fucking smart. Because you see like evolutionary theory things, and like animals adapt and overcome all the time.
Yeah, I think the toys for sure. Like, I don't think it's even a question, but I was just watching and I'm like, that would be like, it would freak me up. Be like, wait,
Yes.
do the fish know what's? Because like the whole joke of this movie, or like the premise of the Dory character, is the idea that goldfish only have a 3-second attention span. And
Yes.
so, she can't remember anything, whatever. She doesn't even remember who she's talking to. To have that one thought in your head, fish are dumb. Fish can't remember anything. They're just there. They just are looking at themselves and they forget everything else. Then to be scooping a fish out and then have all the other fish be like, no, like, I know what's going on. You're not taking our new friend from us. Be like, wait, what is going on? Like, is this, do they know what's up? And like, obviously, like, toys coming to life wanting to murder me, that's more terrifying and scary and whatever. But like,
Yeah.
this is also really weird.
I give animals the benefit of the doubt for the most part. I think that they're a lot smarter than we let on to be. There's definitely some dumb ones. I watch videos of animals doing incredible shit, and I'm like, you guys know way too much. Like, my cats have conditioned us that we just like live in their world. I'm sure that you can relate to this. Your cat can convince you to do things for it all the time. Like, how did you condition me to do this? Like, you've trained me to do things.
A couple other, not Fast Connections at all, but just movie references. So there's the Here's Brucey, where Bruce the Shark, where it's the Shining reference.
Yes,
I don't know, do you know what the shark named Bruce is a reference to?
No, I'm not sure.
When they were filming Jaws, Steven Spielberg named the animatronic shark, nicknamed that Bruce, and so Bruce was a thing on there. So Bruce the shark is a reference to Jaws, which is pretty cool. And then also when Darla shows up for the first time, like in person, at the dentist's office, they have the Psycho music playing, which is pretty just cool. Like, it's just like all these kind of classic horror movies and classic film in general, but just in a rated G Pixar film, it's like, yeah, there's no doubt that Pixar knows its shit, but it's also like, yeah, these are just like cool references and cool things to be making note of.
Post 2000s animation films that I feel like a lot more of these pop culture references, Easter eggs for adults, were starting to be put into animations. And this is like one of the reasons why I would enjoy watching SpongeBob so much with my sister, is because SpongeBob had like a lot of adult mature themes in it that would be masked behind animation. So I always appreciate when we get like little references like this. Like in Turbo, we got the "Does he look like a bitch?" quote from Samuel L. Jackson type things. And
you're definitely right, but I think that those have always been in animation. I think that it's just that since 2000, you've been personally more aware that they've been happening. Because like, if you go back and you watch like Rocko's Modern Life, like there are such like Ren and Stimpy and stuff like that. Like that's 90s, like late 80s, early 90s, whatever, criticisms and critiques and satires and references to all sorts of different stuff. And so I think just since 2000, you've become more aware that it's going on, but I think it's always been there.
You're right. And now that, and even as I was saying that, I was thinking about like Looney Tunes and stuff like that. A lot of Looney Tunes things are like plays on musicals, and it was when I hit the maturity level to catch them, that's when I thought that they become aware, but I guess they've always been there.
But also like I think it's probably better now than it's ever been, and I think it's smarter and more meta and overall just kind of cooler, but I think it's always, to some extent or other, I think it's always been there. So
yeah, I think that has to be the sell, right? Like if you're making a show for kids and it's too much for kids and not for adults, then you change it.
That's the big difference between this and Turbo. It's like Turbo is mostly a kids movie that like is just kind of a kids movie with some stuff for adults. Like, if you're a Fast and Furious fan, you got that scene and whatever, but like this is a movie that, made me laugh out loud several times. Like, it's just like the two birds and like they bubble up from underground or like from underwater somewhere, they bubble up and it looks like the one bird's farting and just goes, I'm out of here. Like, it's just like dumb jokes like that. Just so funny, and like I laughed audibly a handful of times. Like, I enjoyed Turbo, but I did not laugh out loud at Turbo. I was just like, yeah, I enjoy this, but this is a different class altogether.
It is. Pixar is just running a master class on animation most of the time, and like anything that they put out is just like incredible.
This won Best Animated Feature. It was Pixar's, or first, it was Disney's actually. Disney's first animated film to win Best Animated Feature, which seems crazy. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's what IMDb says, so.
That's weird. Yeah, I wouldn't expect that. I mean, like, there's been a lot of great Disney movies. That's very strange.
This is a hint for maybe later, but this also just tracks, I think, anecdotally with what I've just seen in life, at least as of the time of this trivia, was Finding Nemo is the best-selling DVD release of all time, having sold more than 40 million copies, which I'm sure if that was still true as of a couple years ago, like, people aren't buying DVDs anymore. But it feels like if you're going to own a movie...
This is probably it, yeah. It's something for everyone. Like, I'm sure that grandparents own it, and kids, and millennials, everyone.
I don't know that this is anybody's favorite Pixar. I'm sure it is, but, like, it's also probably, like, just... in everybody's like top 3 Pixar movies. It's just like one of those where it's like, maybe it's not anybody's favorite of a thing, but it's always like, oh yeah, like I would love to watch Finding Nemo a lot. Let me buy that on DVD.
I definitely know people that really, really, really love it. So,
and the only other trivia, and this is something kind of sort of related to us, is that there's a scene where Marlin hops on Crush's shell. He's a turtle. Crush says, "Don't puke on my shell. I just waxed it." Is a reference to Turtle Wax, which is a car wax brand. So a little bit of a fast connection, sort of, kind of there. So pretty cool.
I thought that it was a reference to like surfing, like he just waxed his board type situation.
I think that's the thing, but I think it's also just that it's a turtle and waxing. I think it's a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B, right? So any other notes or anything else, or any other fast connections that you saw before we play a couple games?
Obviously, Finding Nemo is an excellent movie. But I was like, I don't know how fast or furious Marlin and Nemo are right now. Nemo looks a little slow, and Marlin seems a little skittish. I should be slow and skittish.
Also, just reminded me of the song in Baby Driver. Was he slow? No. Was he slow? No. All right, Joe. Let us watch the trailer for Finding Nemo. If you scroll up a little bit, it's right there. From Movie Clips Classic Trailers. So if you search on YouTube, Finding Nemo trailer, the first thing that has like 10 million views is just like from some account called Q, which even taking QAnon out of the situation, like the second hit is Movie Clips, and there's far fewer views, but like I just would rather go to like the legitimate thing as opposed to just like some dude who like uploaded a trailer, right? So
Movie Clips is our bread and butter here.
Finding Nemo 2003 trailer number 1, Movie Clips Classic Trailers.
Tell me whenever you're ready.
All right, 3, 2, 1, play. Nice little 2-minute trailer, a little bit shorter than the normal 2:30 that we're used to.
Walt Disney Pictures, Pixar.
It's the old Disney thing, yeah.
From the Academy Award-winning creators of Toy Story.
I feel like Disney's had to have one Best Animated Feature before. I don't know what that is.
I feel like, yeah.
That just seems crazy. Unless it was a newer category and they've never had one in a limited time. I don't know. I'll look that up, though, after we're done here.
I know.
Yeah.
Have you seen Finding Dory or no?
No, I've never seen it.
It's
I
good.
heard bad things, though. I heard that it wasn't as good, yeah.
It's not as good, but it's still good. I mean, it's a Pixar movie, right? So.
Very skittish. All right.
Came out like 13 years later, I think. It's just, you know, Dory's not my favorite character in this movie. Like, there's everything else is more interesting.
Definitely not. That's what I'm saying, too, yeah. Dory's not my favorite character in this movie. There could have been so many more interesting
things. You stay right here,
things.
swim in a little circle, forget to yourself. I'll be right back. I'm gonna
Is this a trailer?
I don't know. It's like a clip. It's like actually a movie clip.
But Movie Clip says trailer number 1. Hang on, let me find the other one. All right, let's go to Q, Finding Nemo trailer, 2 minutes and 13 seconds. Let's see what this is, because that was...
Okay, this starts out. Preview.
But that one did too, so I don't know. All right, 3, 2, 1, play. We have that last time that we had from the Academy Award-winning Toy Story, so... Man, we have had some bad luck lately with these.
Yeah. I like the seagulls, too. They're fun.
Mine.
Don't
Mine?
any
Mine?
sudden
Mine?
moves. Hop inside my mouth if you want to live.
All right,
Yeah,
here we
really
go. This is more like it.
This is it. Yeah.
Although for a second there, like in that like sort of extended opening thing, I was like, is this just this scene?
I love this song, too. Somewhere Beyond the Sea.
Oh, I've got trivia about this movie, but trivia about this song. I will...
71%
Oh, the crossing
of the
guard.
Earth's surface is covered by water.
71% of the Earth's surface is covered by water.
That's a big place to find one fish.
It was like 3.1 trillion fish. He's looking for one.
Yeah. The sharks is a fun thing that they're called, kind of like an AA, too. I like that a lot.
To find Nemo
Let's ask for directions. No! What is it with men and asking for directions?
will take a miracle.
I like anglerfish, too. When I was watching a lot of Planet Earth or Blue Planet.
That's like it's like the lanternfish.
Yeah, yeah.
Getting him back.
They're terrifying. They're so weird.
Story.
Yeah, this is much better.
Much better.
Presents a Pixar animation.
This is weird that this is kind of like an in-between place where it's like they're still pitching it as a Disney movie, you know?
I don't remember when Disney bought Pixar, but I think that they were just like distributing Pixar movies. Like this is before they bought Pixar.
Yeah,
there were different companies. Now they're, now everything's just Disney.
To believe it.
See it, SEA. There's your fart joke.
Nice. Yeah.
Finding Nemo.
Yeah, Disney Pixar. Fine. Yeah.
So the Bobby Darin song "Beyond the Sea" has been used in like a million things. Like it was used in Goodfellas. What is noteworthy to me, the one that stands out to me, the first, like one of my all-time favorite episodes of The X-Files in season 1, which is like episode 15, maybe, called "Beyond the Sea." It's an episode, spoiler, where Scully's dad dies. So Scully, like the show, the main character, Mulder and Scully. So Scully is Gillian Anderson, and like we don't know her dad, but like her dad shows up, and like before the opening credits, her dad dies. In that, like Beyond the Sea plays a really pivotal role in that episode, and I just love that so much. And the episode's named after it, and so like in my head, it's always kind of attributed to that, even though I know it's been in a million things.
Yeah,
taken from the song La Mer. Oh, because it's also in Lost season 1. Shannon sings it.
Oh.
Because she said, remember, when she was a nanny, when she was an au pair, she actually references Finding Nemo. She learned to speak French by watching Finding Nemo a lot because, she's like, I know this. Why do I know this?
Oh, that's right.
Finding
that's
Nemo.
So right.
Yeah, so she sings the original French version, which I guess is by Charles Trenet. So
very cool. Nice fact. Nice tie in there.
I forgot, but now it all comes together. All right, Joe, the Letterboxd game, Mad Max Fury Road, for reference sake, has been seen by 665,000 people. Finding Nemo, 2003, directed by Andrew Stanton, starring Albert Brooks, Ellen DeGeneres, Alexander Gould. Oh, by the way, so the guy who plays Nemo, voices Nemo, is Nancy Botwin's younger son on Weeds. I don't know if you've ever watched Weeds.
No, I didn't.
It breaks my brain to know that this is it's the same, because he's just like such a like dirtbag kind of weird kid on that show, and for him to be like this sweet, innocent, like 8 or 9-year-old voicing, or probably maybe even younger, voicing Nemo, like I was just like, oh boy. But yeah, Alexander Gould, shout out to you. Shane Botwin on Weeds, Jesus Christ. But starring Albert Brooks, Ellen DeGeneres, Alexander Gould, Willem Dafoe, Brad Garrett, Allison Janney, has been seen by how many people?
This got to be my biggest guess ever, just because I can't imagine it's anything low.
Sure, okay.
I'm gonna go, even on Letterboxd, I'm gonna go 420,000.
Gotta go higher.
That's my guess. Higher, 550,000.
Gotta go higher.
Really? Jesus. 625.
Gotta go higher.
650.
Gotta go higher.
675.
659. 658,963. So it's basically on Mad Max pace. Like this is one that, we could be using this
obviously, yeah,
as the reference point. Average rating of 4.05, most common rating of 4, then a 5, then a 4.5. How many people have this in their top 4?
Also has to be a ridiculous number. 12,000.
Way lower.
I thought it was going to be high. I thought we would get a lot of people that had it in there, and that's a ton. I guess that's still a super high percentage. 750.
Higher.
Okay, I made 2 wildly different guesses. 1,200.
I was going to say you're much closer to the second one. The answer is, do I have an exact number here or no? I don't have an exact number, but it's 1.1K, so around 1,100. So
okay,
1,100 out of the 660,000 people. That's sort of, I guess,
that's
less than you might think, but yeah.
I thought there was going to be like a lot of people that really love. Like this has to be a top 4 movie for a ton of people. So yeah.
Well, there's pages and pages and pages. I found one, like it's hard to find. I don't know what angle to take with this game, because I feel like there's ones where it's like 3 sort of weird movies in this, or like 3 animated movies, or like it's all kind of. So I found Biff_W at Biff_W. Still my favorite animated film of all time. Every character is likable. The entire film looks amazing. The score may be my favorite in any film. There are quite a few funny jokes. The emotional beats all land. The chase scenes are really fun. The ending is one of my favorites in any Pixar film. I just adore this entire movie, and I could never really put it into words. 5 stars. I will say that when they're running away from Bruce, that kind of feels like a race a little bit.
Like, it's not perfectly erased, but yeah, I can see it.
Biff W. has this in his top 4. It is his 3rd favorite movie of all time. His number 2 movie is one of the, on the Mount Rushmore of this game.
Pulp Fiction.
No.
Avengers Endgame.
Very close, but no.
Very close to Avengers Endgame, but no. Mad Max Fury Road.
Nope. You're way too far away. Very close to Avengers Endgame.
Is it Avengers, but not Endgame?
Infinity War. Avengers Infinity War is his number 2 favorite movie. So Avengers Infinity War number 2, Finding Nemo number 3. Number 1 is a recent science fiction movie based on a book.
Annihilation?
No. That's a good guess.
The Martian?
Yep. The Martian.
Cool.
Number 1.
Cool.
And then number 2 is a movie that I have been teased for liking as much as I do, but I stand steadfast and true. This is why I picked this one. I think this 4th movie of his 4th favorite movie, is literally a perfect movie.
Oh, I know what it is.
Go for it.
Paddington 2.
Paddington 2, The Martian, Avengers Infinity War, Finding Nemo, Paddington 2, Biff W, Biff Weed on Twitter.
That's a good lineup. That's a fun mix.
Yeah, Finding Nemo. And shout out once again to Haley for picking this one for us.
Yes, thank you, Haley, for picking it. Obviously, Finding Nemo is great.
Yep.
And I need to, force myself to watch more of these Pixar movies.
Well, especially considering you were, last week saying about how much you liked Turbo. It's or, last episode talking about Turbo.
But Turbo's, so much lighter, right? It was, not as heavy.
Because it's not as good. It's just,
Yeah, you're right. It's definitely not as good. I liked Cars, but I don't think Cars is as heavy either, right?
The third Cars is... Cars touches on
I just saw the
things.
first one.
Cars 1's good. Cars 3 is good. Cars 2 is not very good. Cars 2 is probably the worst Pixar movie, but...
Okay.
All right, so next week, we are back on our regularly scheduled programming. Nico and Kevo here to talk about Hobbs and Shaw.
The final Fast and the Furious movie for them, that's right.
We've still got more episodes with them, at least one more, with the Crossroads game, and then also they're going to come back for the tune-up relap recap, but Hobbs and Shaw, the final movie, to your point. Final movie, final Fast and Furious movie. Very exciting.
That is very exciting.
Then on Friday of next week, we are doing another patron pick, a pick from Jake Freer. We are doing Spider-Man 3.
Spider-Man 3?
Spider-Man 3.
The Tobey Maguire ones?
You got it.
Oh, that's cool. I dig it.
Because he kind of goes through, has sort of a little amnesia in that, and...
Oh, I don't remember. Is that the Dr. Octopus one?
No, I don't
think
so.
Or is that 2? 3 is what?
3 is
Venom.
3 is where he has, 3 is where he gets taken over by the suit and just changes personalities.
Oh.
There's the whole people do not like 3.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I don't remember it at all. I remember 1.
2, a lot of people say that 2 is one of the best superhero movies of all time.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
3 is less well regarded than that.
Makes sense.
We'll have a fun guest. We're not going to have Mr. Third Times for it. It is a third in trilogy, but we're going to have a fun guest for it.
Ooh.
Assuming schedules work out, but we will talk about that next time. But Joe, any other final thoughts about Finding Nemo before we pack it up?
No, I should have been better at the letterbox game.
You did well at the letter. Oh, you mean at the guessing the numbers? Because I think guessing the movies you did pretty well.
Oh yeah, the guessing the movies I did better than usual, but the numbers one I should have done a lot better, I think.
It's very funny that it was almost identical in number 2 Mad Max. If you had just guessed the Mad Max number, you would have been I would have been yep, you're right.
Yeah, I know, right.
For all things Too Fast, Too Forever, you go to cageclub.me, facebook.com/TooFast2Forever, or at TooFast2Forever on Twitter and Instagram. Email us, family@cageclub.me. Check out our Patreon page at TooFast2Forever.com. Come back next week for a double dose of Hobbs and Shaw and Spider-Man 3. I don't know if those movies have anything in common other than we're going to talk about both next week, so...
I don't know.
Cool? I'm Joey Lewandowski.
I'm Joe too.
And we'll tell you all about it
when we see you